also look at the throw-down screens. You can look at the drop-down screens if you can see the screen. All right. The President NAPMED, the chairman of this occasion, all other protocols duly observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Being here today gives me great joy. I must thank the organizers, the executives, for graciously extending an invitation to me. In the last couple of years, I've had the privilege of being invited by many professional bodies to deliver keynote address. I try as much as possible to say yes. How many of you remember the Skybank adverts? Saying yes to your needs. Do you remember that? I don't bank with Skybank. I say yes for a different reason. Any opportunity to interact with people is an opportunity to learn. And learning is a serious business and a profitable engagement. Besides the joy of learning, two reasons made it very easy for me to decide to be here. First, this conference is holding in the most beautiful city in Nigeria. I grew up in Enugu, but I'm yet to grow out of my fascination for the beauty and memories, for the trials and conquests that make Enugu unforgettable. Second, it is not every day that life presents you an audience as beautiful as this. Rich in diversity, united in hope. I'm blessed to be among my many brothers and few sisters, men and women, struggling against all odds to deliver service in the most underserved regions of this great nation. The theme of this conference is the present and future of healthcare delivery in Nigeria's rural areas. I must congratulate you on the choice of such an excellent topic. It is relevant, it is contemporary, it is brilliant. We start by looking at the keywords. Rural, healthcare. After that, we'll take a review of the current status of healthcare delivery in Nigeria. We'll then take snapshots of the future we see and ask ourselves a very deliberate question. What must NAPMED do? What must the membership of NAPMED do to play a significantly better role in the future? What is rural area? The primary school I attended in Enugu is no more than 3 kilometers from here. Back in those days, a kid gets into a fight for being called Onyimo Obodo. For those of you that don't understand Igbo, don't worry, just cram it. When next an Igbo man annoys you, look at him very well and call him Onyimo Obodo. But I must warn you, do not try it with anybody that can easily beat you up. Imo Obodo is rural area. Using the term in a derogatory manner is unnecessary. We all have our roots in Imo Obodo. The city is a latter-day construct. The National Geographic Society defined Imo Obodo as an open swath of land, few buildings, few homes, not very many people. Basically, there are 4 things common to every Imo Obodo. Number 1, low population density. You are not likely going to find 20 persons in one face me, I slap you apartment. Number 2, no congestion of buildings and vehicles. Number 3, agriculture is the major industry, the primary industry. Nothing is manufactured, everything is extracted from the earth. Number 4, there is communal life. Everyone knows almost everyone. It's interesting to note that globally, rural population is about 46% of the entire population. In Sub-Saharan Africa, it's 62%. In Nigeria, it's 52%. I heard from the Honorable Minister today that it's 70%. But there is a negative correlation between the wealth of nations and rural population. So as national income goes up, rural population comes down. In the most advanced countries, rural population will be typically 20%, less than 20% of the total population. In most poor countries, it will be typically more than 50%. Healthcare, as we know it, is the maintenance or improvement of health through the diagnosis, prevention and treatment of disease, illness, injury, or other physical and mental impairments in human beings. A healthcare system is an organization of individuals, institutions, resources to deliver health services that meet the healthcare needs of a target population. To understand the current status of healthcare delivery in Nigeria, we must situate this discussion within the appropriate context. The World Health Organization in the 1948 Constitution defined healthcare as a fundamental human right. Fundamental human rights are those non-negotiable rights that stand above the ordinary laws of the land. They exist before laws were created. They belong to the people. Fela was right when he sang, "You cannot dash me human rights." Do you know that? Human rights, now my property. Nobody can dash you human rights. Is health care a fundamental human right in Nigeria? Our 1999 Constitution, as amended, Chapter 4, lists all the fundamental human rights of the Nigerian people. There are about 12 of them. The right to life, the right to the dignity of the human person, the right to personal liberty, right to personal and family life, right to fair hearing, right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion, right to freedom of movement, right to own property. Health care was not listed. That health is not a fundamental human right in Nigeria has far-reaching consequences. What it simply means is that health in Nigeria is negotiable, is dispensable, is arbitrary. This may explain, at least in part, our dismal performance in universal health coverage. The principle of universal health coverage is that individuals and communities can access the healthcare services they need, whether it is promotive, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, or palliative healthcare service, that individuals and communities can access them at sufficient quality to be effective without exposing the individual or his community to financial harm. There are three core things here. The first is equity in healthcare access. That simply means that anybody that requires healthcare service can access it, not only those that can pay for it. The second is that quality must be high enough to improve health. The third is that costs must be low enough not to subject people and their communities to financial harm. A functional healthcare system must deliver, at the barest minimum, these three goals of universal health coverage: access, quality, and cost. Do we have a functional health system? I will leave you to answer that. But World Health Organization identified the 5 pillars of a functional health system. The first one is a robust financing mechanism. Our 2017 budget is 7 trillion naira. 4% was allocated to health. If you divide this by the number of Nigerians, that means 4 naira 70 kobo per person per day. This is in the same country where we claim that we are spending 14,000 naira a day to feed a prisoner. So if you analyze the numbers, 5 million naira a year to feed one prisoner, 1,688 naira a year for your health. If you look at our current epidemiological profile, the national health targets, the input materials like drugs, vaccines, and labor, then 4 naira 70 kobo a day cannot work. Closely linked to this is the coverage of national health insurance. Only 10% of Nigerians are currently covered. So for the overwhelming majority of Nigerians, healthcare delivery or healthcare expenditure is on out-of-pocket basis. The second pillar is a well-trained and adequately compensated workforce. There's this joke about a patient who had chest pain. He went to a hospital, not UNTH, he went to another hospital. And the doctor recommended an X-ray. And a cockroach was found in his chest. So the doctor said, okay, I'm going to do surgery to remove it. The patient went for a second opinion. And the cockroach was in the X-ray machine. Our healthcare practitioners are products of the same educational system that is dysfunctional and underfunded. Last year, I lost count of the number of times healthcare workers went on strike. A first group will go on strike, get a higher pay. A second group goes on strike to demand a similar pay. The first group goes back to widen the gap. So you have a situation where every group is on strike. Pharmacists, doctors, nurses, technicians. Only the patient has not gone on strike. And NAPMED too. I beg, make we clap for NAPMED. The third pillar of a functional health system is reliable information for planning. President NAPMED, if I ask the members here what is the population of Nigeria, I will get different answers. Reason is that when we go to collect data that is for healthcare statistics, we bring politics into it. So it's not just about how many people are being born, how many people are dying, what are the diseases, what is the progression. We are thinking of how we can use that to manipulate political data. If we don't know whether more people live in Lagos or in Kano, how do we plan healthcare resource? The fourth pillar of a functional health system is well-maintained health facilities. First, do we have the facilities? Where are they? If 52% of the people live in rural areas and 90% of the facilities are in the urban cities, then there is a systemic imbalance in the first place. Very recently, a tertiary hospital announced its intention to go on strike. And part of the reasons advanced was that the doctor's common room does not have any light. That at night, the doctors battle with insects and reptiles. What is the state of mind of that doctor when he goes in for surgery? The fifth pillar is adequate logistics to deliver medicines and technology. When we talk about logistics, we talk about our road network, we talk about storage facilities, we talk about almighty NEPA, we talk about how we move patients from their homes to the hospitals and from the hospitals to reference centers. Last 2 weeks, the government of Anambra State was talking about keke ambulance to move people from one community to the other. For those of you that don't know, Anambra is an exceptional state. Anambra is working and Willie is willingly working. If we look at all the 5 pillars of a functional health system, one conclusion we cannot escape is that our healthcare delivery system is dysfunctional and is deplorable. But I do not think you called me here to tell you this. You already know that. The present is known. The future is where we may hazard a guess. By the very definition of the future, we don't know it in full. But we can at least identify the building blocks of the future. 4 things, 4 critical things will impact healthcare delivery in the future. The first is urbanization. The second is globalization. The third is national health insurance. And the fourth is technology. Urbanization is the shift in population from rural communities to urban cities. Globally, 54% of the population is urban. That percentage is expected to hit 66% by 2050. Africa and Asia alone will contribute 90%. 3 countries, only 3 countries, Nigeria, India, and China will contribute 37%. What does that mean to you? The number of communities that qualify as rural will keep becoming smaller. the number of people living in rural communities will keep becoming fewer. So if NAPMED continues to define its business as rural-centric, then you must be prepared for a shrinking market size. The second is globalization. We have become an interconnected community. Every man with an internet-enabled phone carries with himself a library. So that man in the village is not a simple villager anymore. He has become sophisticated. He is aware of diseases. He is aware of treatment options, of side effects, of consumer rights. So a business that is set up to exploit the ignorance of people cannot survive in a globalized economy. The third is national health insurance. As healthcare services become more sophisticated and the users become more aware and more demanding, then it will become more difficult to finance healthcare as an out-of-pocket expense. All over the world, insurance is taking over. Today is 10%. What if it moves to 80%? Then your customer is no longer that walk-in customer that pays you with crumbled naira. It is the health management organization that comes in their sophistication to ask you for better service at lower costs. The fourth thing that will shape tomorrow is technology. Technology has become pervasive. If I want pizza, I buy it online. If I want a ticket, I get it online. If I want a wife, I can get one online. Well, not only for the men, for gender balance, if a woman wants a husband, she can actually get 3 online. Take it to one side. Years ago, I'll need my telephone to take calls. I'll need a camera to take pictures. I'll need a fax machine to process documents. Today, one equipment can do all of that. So technology is not just expanding, it has exploded. It's not just exploding, it is converging. How will that affect your business? It is naive, extremely naive, to believe that the same customer that buys his pizza online, marries his wife online, will continue to come to a brick and mortar pharmacy to buy drugs. How prepared are you for tomorrow? I come from a health promotion background. In health promotion, what we do is basically 3 things: information, assurance, and a plan for action. For instance, if I'm talking to you about malaria, I will not end at the fact that Plasmodium causes malaria. That's the information. Everybody knows that. I will not even stop at malaria is preventable and treatable. That's just reassuring. I will give you a definite plan of action. I will ask you to go and buy Ravimal. That Ravimal stops malaria, full stop. I beg, I'm not advertising. I'm just giving you an example. That Ravimal stops malaria, full stop. So in the same way, if we are talking about the status of healthcare delivery in Nigeria, we cannot stop at just knowing that it's deplorable and dysfunctional. We cannot stop at the reassurance that we can influence tomorrow. We have to look at definite things we can do to play a considerably better role tomorrow. I will give you 5 tips and we close. Number 1, the big picture. Big picture. How you define your business is extremely important. The story has been told of 3 workers in a construction site. They were asked to describe what they do. The first one said, I am arranging blocks. The second one said, I am building a wall. The third one said, I am building a beautiful cathedral. If I ask you why you are here, I will get different answers. Some of you are here because of waiting man go do. Others are here because your friends are here. A few of you are here because you are genuinely concerned about that person in the remotest part of Nigeria that cannot access drugs. How you answer that question is very important. Because till you find an answer that is bigger than you, bigger than your needs, then you have not located the big picture. Nothing excellent is achieved without passion. And passion comes from finding a need bigger than yourself. If you set out to put food on the table, you will. If you set out to make the world a better place, you will. You have to decide which one is a bigger impact. The second thing is qualification process. I think that NAPMED must give a very serious consideration to the minimum level of training and character required for membership. Any profession without an entry barrier is like a city without gates. Imagine if I want to be a member of a family, all I need to do is walk around the streets, find a building I like, go in, have dinner, and then sleep in the master's bedroom, then I'm a member of that family. That is called confusion. Or I want to play football, I will go to Enugu Rangers, pick up a t-shirt, maybe in number 10, and I will come and say, na me be striker. Now lie, you know be striker. It's not when you go and try other things, you go and do barbing, you cannot. You go and do another thing, you cannot. Then you come to NAPMED and NAPMED accepts you. There must be a minimum standard for practice. The third thing is the appetite for learning. It's important that our people engage in learning. Learning is a lifelong pursuit. When we talk about graduation, it's very misleading because we don't graduate. It doesn't mean you've acquired knowledge. It actually means you are now licensed to find it. I don't tell for this business. It's not a reason to stop learning. It's actually the reason why you should learn more. NAPMED should think of update programs for the members where you can come together and you agree on minimum attendance every year for practice. It will help all of you. Because if the man, learning cannot be to whom it may concern. You know all those kind of documents we carry in our portfolio, and when you meet a police officer, you give it to him. The officer will read it upside down and tell you, it don't concern me. So, learning cannot be to whom it may concern. It's for everybody. If that man in the most remote village refuses to learn, by his refusal to learn, by his ignorance, by his consequent malpractice, he is bringing the whole association to disrepute. The fourth thing is regulation. Regulation is very important. I'm very glad that it has been talked about today and it will be talked about more tomorrow. What regulation does, or any profession, will first of all say what it does. Regulation makes sure that you do what you say. Regulation takes away the bad and the ugly so that the good can survive. It's important that we are regulated. You know God made the heavens and the earth, made men, made women, China made the rest. But if I put made in China and made in America, they don't command the same premium. The technology may be the same. But if they say 15 mil in the US, it's 15 mil. If they say 15 mil in China, I need to look at it again. So regulation is important. When I started Mirror many years ago, one of the best decisions I reached with my team is that if you do not manufacture for the top 10 global brands, if you don't manufacture for Sanofi, for GSK, for Pfizer, you will not make for Mirror. That's about regulation. The last thing I will say is value add. It's important that we add value wherever we go. Making that decision today to leave every situation better than you found it may be one of the most important decisions you will ever make. It took me time to realize that success has a tribe. If you take the same persons that are successful in pattern medicine, if you take them to timber business, they will be successful if they apply the same principle. That's why in Igbo we say, Okike na mwado, okike na mo. Alhaji, I will not interpret that. While you are in Enugu, try to learn. For those that are married, finding an Igbo husband or wife may be your best investment. If you are married and we catch you moving around, we tell your wife. So make a decision to learn. Make a decision to add value to every situation. Nothing damages the human mind more than the propensity to be less than we can, to do less than we can, and to engage life with less enthusiasm than we can. That is the basis of all psychic damage. So I will say to you, in the words of John Wesley, do all you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, by all the means you can, to all the persons you can, so long as you ever can. Ladies and gentlemen, I must bring this speech to a close. He asked me to speak for 30-35 minutes. I think I have done 33. So what that means is that I have a profit of 2 minutes. In life and in business, please make profits. I will use this profit of 2 minutes to thank the organizers for inviting me. You did not call me here to tell you anything you do not know. I'll be sitting down to hear your own story and to share in your lesson. It was my sister's countryman, Chinua Achebe, the eagle of Iroko, that put it this way. A man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starving. They all have food in their own homes. When we come together in the moonlit village ground, it's not because of the moon. Every man can see the moon in his own compound. We come together because it is good for kinsmen to do so. We are kinsmen. Our common tribe is healthcare. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for listening.
All right. NAPMED, head for all.